was CNN. This is going to really hurt. This is going to really hurt to play this, but I'm beside myself that they just keep going, this scowling. But here you have it. Of course, it's centered by this chubby blonde chick. And you have the token white guy now. Now they have a token white guy. That's what you have. The guy on the left, I forgot his name, with the Lego man hair. They always had the Lego man hair. He's just happy to be there because he hasn't been forced out of his job yet because he's so white he's almost see-through. You can see his brain. And then of course Don Lemon is on the far right over there of the screen, thinking about his white boyfriend's dick. Here we go. Listen to this.
There's this theme of white wannabe vigilantism that I think encapsulates both of these trials. And I wonder...
They're talking about Rittenhouse.
I wonder what you think about... Look, laws aside, how is the defense doing aside? What do you think about just this idea that this is something people do, that in some places this is still okay?
Well, it's the same idea as I was saying about the judge. This is okay because people are used to it.
There seems to be this theme of scowling white women with double chins on television who obsess over blaming white people for everything. That's a theme I can't get over.
This is the ultimate entitlement. That, again, you can insert yourself into a situation with a gun that you're not supposed to be carrying, kill two people, injure, and you are made to be a hero by the public.
You see, it's not so much the hero factor, and it's not what obviously they have to mischaracterize the entire thing because everything hinges on people seeing it their way, or else we really start going into a lot more productive direction here. Anyone who wanted to volunteer in the middle of a war zone is in their right mind to be able to defend themselves. Okay? If you want to go into a war zone, you should be able to defend yourself, especially when the crazies that are out there, these mindless, unthinking, feral humans that are looking around for something to destroy and somebody to attack in this mob mentality, this burn it all down mob mentality. Anyone who's out there that is trying to be not part of that and maybe help out in one way or another, to not have an ability to defend yourself is stupid. He did not go to Kenosha looking to kill people. That's just, but they have to keep characterizing it as this. And like I said before, I don't know what the hell happens with the jury, but we've seen enough to know what the hell.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
That prosecutor's a loser, bro. You see him, he took a picture with his shirt. It said "Safe AF" on it. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When he tried to make about that, and then something else so stupid. Something else like they're just like reaching.
And not only that, but like I said, this is for people out there who have no brains. So the prosecutor put that out there. This picture of Kyle Rittenhouse wearing a shirt that says "Safe AF" whatever.
Free.
Yeah. Well, say free as free F fuck
this
whatever.
Is right after he got
Yeah, and he's with people, he's smiling, he's taking a picture and all that stuff. And that is somehow evidence that if somebody suffers a trauma or if they're in a really dangerous situation and they manage to get out of there with their lives, that for the rest of their lives they're never going to smile again. They're never going to be in the company of people who make them happy again, or what? It's just ridiculous. But they play on this. They play on this over and over. Let's keep going.
You see someone jogging down the street, and you take it into your hands. You think it's your responsibility to stop that person when you're not even sure if they are committing a crime, because what?
Yeah, he's talking about the incident in Georgia, and I have no clue about it. So
it is your street, it is your town, it is your country. It is the ultimate degree of entitlement, where people believe that this is how they're supposed to be. What the right is saying about Kyle Rittenhouse is that, well, the government didn't do its job, so it took a 17-year-old kid to come in and do what was right. That's vigilantism.
No. That's not what the right is saying about anything, because all Kyle showed up to do was to clean up graffiti, to be part of a community that actually has a lot more ties to than we even understood originally, And he just made sure that he was defended because it was a war. It's a war zone. Everywhere where their brand of leftist politics runs amok, it becomes a fucking war zone. But they have to keep categorizing this as Kyle Rittenhouse showed up to make citizens arrests, to make a citizen arrest that night. He's looking around to make sure that people who are committing arson are tied to a lamppost like Batman would do. You know, leave it for the police to show up. And of course there's the concubine beast of burden white guy just sitting there and listening to the black man and the white woman take all the screen time because that's what his lot in life is.
That's not what people are not supposed to be vigilantes. We're not supposed to be taking justice into our own hands.
Okay,
Imagine
BLM.
if every single person in America did that.
Exactly.
Imagine if you call for black men or just black folks to be armed and go out on the streets
Or call
and,
for violence if you step
do
up
what they think
police
justice
enforcement.
Yeah, exactly. Black Lives Matter right now. And a couple of their comrades have already threatened violence in New York City if newly elected mayor Eric Adams, who was a black man, does anything that resembles a crackdown on crime. They've already said it's going to be violence they're taking to the street. And not only that, over the last year and a half, we have had 2 major instances where a lot of media attention was brought on to the fact that there is a growing number of all black militia, armed black militia that are forming out there. And you know what? Most people don't really give a shit about that. But down in South Carolina or North Carolina, I forget where the hell it was, there was black militia stopping, taking control of traffic and stopping motorists as if they were some kind of a highway department. That's something to be concerned about. Other than that, black Americans, getting together and starting gun clubs and anything else like that has no problem. Nobody's got a problem with it. None whatsoever. And there's evidence of that happening all over the place. But there's also evidence of the vigilantism that he's talking about. It's just... It's incredible. It's incredible. It's the exact conditions that were spelled out in that Beaver post about violence that we were doing last night. Imagine this. Yeah, imagine the police did their jobs instead of stand down. Imagine that. Imagine if the news networks actually reported news instead of engage in cover-up and obfuscation. That would be interesting, too. And imagine if judges and DAs weren't carrying water for a leftist death cult. That would be wonderful if we can get more of that in this country. That would be great. I guess Scott Pressler is a vigilante too, because he shows up in bad parts of town and he is cleaning up trash and all that stuff. Only thing is that he's not doing it in the middle of a firebombing, a leftist firebombing, I guess. So he didn't really need that much protection. But still, every situation is different. Every situation is different, I guess. Now I want to show you this. We're going back to the Beaver post. Listen to this from last night. Here you have it. I'm just going to do the last 2. In essence, this is the reason behind the West's continued descent into decadence. If the decent, righteous folks who constitute the majority of mankind refuse to engage in violence, this is righteous violence. This is when in self-defense and when we're talking about law enforcement who are willing to escalate force to actually enforce good, decent law. This will allow them to gain positions of power where they will weaken the laws even further and allow them even more dysfunctionals into positions of power until we reach a point where the common folk are dominated by a handful of psychopaths refusing to defend themselves as they believe violence is wrong while letting violence be used to dominate them. Don Lemon is part of that psychopathic group. The white woman with the double chin is part of the psychopathic group. Most of these judges that we have been able to get, the Emmett Sullivan, like Judges Sullivan, who are pretty much just agents for people like Barack Obama and everybody else. We meet them all the time. They open up doors for all their friends. The Susan Rices, the Samantha Powers. Once such a point is reached, the less intelligent brutes will begin using violence not because they want freedom from the dominating caste, which is what they say, but merely because no one is stopping them. Okay? When somebody tells you that they're fighting against the patriarchy or they're fighting against white supremacy, and their reaction is to go break into Dolce & Gabbana and steal handbags, It's bullshit. That's what we're talking about here. When less intelligent brutes will begin using violence not because they want freedom from the dominating caste, but merely because no one is stopping them. The decent folks refuse to use violence to stop them while those in charge don't care. Worse, those in charge now hesitate to use violence to stop the brutes because it might set a precedent to teach the decent folks that violence is indeed the answer. This is how we wind up with riots all over the place, and eventually either someone sees an opportunity to seize power or the decent folks finally have had enough and civil war. And that's where we are right now. You have riots all over the place, and nobody wants to set a precedent of actually snuffing out the riots, A, because the ruling class are directing the riots and enabling the people who are causing all the violence, because it's applying a certain amount of political pressure onto the electorate who still need to go and vote every 4 years, thinking that it's going to change something. So it's incredible, and it's wonderful. And that's another reason why people hate these unregulated message boards and comment sections, even though the chans aren't what they were 10 years ago. But there's a lot of really cutting insight that you can gain from all of these people who are publishing little threads and essays and debating each other, and when of course it's not being slid into all hell. But there you have it.